Hey everyone, so NASA just announced something absolutely mind-blowing, and I am talking about potentially the biggest discovery in the history of space exploration. They found what might be evidence of ancient life on Mars. But before you start planning your vacation to the red planet, let me break down exactly what they found and why scientists are both incredibly excited and extremely cautious about this discovery. Alright, so here's what happened. Last July 2024, NASA's Perseverance rover was exploring an ancient riverbed in something called Jezero Crater. Now, this isn't just any random spot on Mars. This crater used to be a lake. We are talking about 3.5 billion years ago, when Mars actually had flowing water, rivers, and this massive lake system. So, if life ever existed on Mars, this would be the perfect place to find traces of it. And that's when Perseverance drilled into this weird arrowhead-shaped rock they nicknamed Cheyava Falls. What they found inside has literally kept scientists up at night. So check this out. When they analyzed the rock sample, they found these incredible patterns that they are calling leopard spots and poppy seeds. I know, not the most scientific names, but honestly, that's exactly what they look like. But here's where it gets absolutely fascinating. These spots contain two very specific minerals, vivianite, which is an iron phosphate, and greigite, an iron sulfide. Now why does this matter? Because on Earth, these exact same minerals form in very specific conditions, and almost always when microbes are present. When bacteria are busy eating organic matter and basically breathing iron and sulfur, they produce these exact mineral signatures as waste products. Okay, so let me break down the science here, because this is where it gets really cool. The researchers found organic carbon, that's carbon-based molecules, sitting right alongside these minerals in very specific repeating patterns. Now what likely happened 3.5 billion years ago is this. Imagine ancient Mars with this lake, sediments settling at the bottom, and potentially tiny microorganisms living in this mud. These microbes would eat organic matter, and through their metabolism, basically their digestive process, they would create these chemical reactions that form vivianite and greigite. It's like finding a fossil, but instead of finding the actual organism, we are finding the chemical fingerprint they left behind. But scientists are being extremely careful here. They are calling this a potential biosignature, not proof of life. Why? Because there are other ways these minerals could form without life involved. They just require really high temperatures, like from volcanic activity. So why aren't scientists just jumping up and down screaming, "We found aliens"? Well, here's the thing. They've been burnt before. Back in 1996, NASA announced they found evidence of life in a Martian meteorite. Huge news, right? Well, turns out after decades of analysis, most scientists now think those fossils were probably just weird mineral formations. No life involved. So this time, they're using something called the cold scale, the confidence of life detection scale, which basically means they need multiple lines of evidence and they need to rule out every possible non-biological explanation before they can say, yes, this is definitely from life. The good news? Perseverance has sealed this sample. They're calling it Sapphire Canyon, in a titanium tube. It's sitting on Mars right now, waiting to hopefully come home to Earth, where we have much more sophisticated instruments. Okay, so let's say this turns out to be real. What does that actually mean for us? First off, we are not alone in the universe. Even if it's just ancient microscopic life, it means life can evolve independently on different planets. Second, it means that 3.5 billion years ago, when life on Earth was also just getting started, Mars had its own little ecosystem of microbes doing their thing in lakes and rivers. But here's what really blew my mind. If this is confirmed, it means that early life forms on both Earth and Mars figured out how to survive using the exact same chemical processes. That suggests life might follow predictable patterns wherever it emerges in the universe. Now here's the frustrating part. To really confirm this, we need to get these samples back to Earth. NASA had this whole Mars sample return mission planned, but it's been plagued with budget issues and delays. The original plan was to get samples back by 2031, but costs ballooned to $11 billion and the timeline got pushed to 2040. And they are now working on two simplified alternatives that could get samples back as early as 2035. But honestly, the fact that we found something this promising means there's going to be massive pressure to make sample return happen. The public interest, the scientific importance, it's all there. And this isn't happening in isolation. Perseverance has been on an absolute tear lately. It just climbed to the rim of Jezero Crater. Imagine driving a car up a 20% grade for months, and it's finding rocks up there that are completely different from anything it's seen before. Some of these rocks might be 4 billion years old, from when Mars was first forming. It's like having a geological time machine. You know what I find most incredible about all this? We are living through what might be one of the most important scientific discoveries in human history, and it's happening right now in real time. Think about it. We built a robot, shot it 140 million miles through space, landed it perfectly on another planet, and now it's potentially discovering ancient alien life forms. With China planning their own sample return mission for 2031 and multiple rovers heading to Mars in the coming years, I have a feeling that 2030s are going to be absolutely wild for space discoveries.